Chairman.
And we have a very extensive list of folks that would like to testify. And so what I'd like to ask is that you limit your testimony to 2 to 3 minutes. And I will call 2 names. I'm going to try to go pro and con, and one and then the other. And then I'll call 2 names, so if the next one will be on deck, we will be able to go through this faster. So we want everyone to have an opportunity to testify today. So we will begin with Matt Vasper, and after Matt will be Leslie Madsen Brooks. Thank you for coming today. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for having me. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Matt Vasper. I've lived in Star, Idaho for the last 20 years, and I'd also say that I'm a 4th-generation Idahoan. My parents both have concealed carry permits. My brothers own several handguns and several AR-15s, and I come from a very conservative family with conservative values. This bill doesn't make any sense to me. Why would we dismantle a concealed carry permit that's worked so well in Idaho for almost 100 years? It's not conservative to dismantle laws that have served Idahoans well for almost 100 years. Guns are something to respect, and that I've been taught. They can take away someone's life, but fortunately, I grew up in a family who taught me how to handle a gun. But what about those people who think that guns are now trendy and want one, and didn't grow up in the country where I've grown up, and they don't know how to perhaps use that weapon? They need some training, perhaps not a lot, but just some, so that they can understand the laws around guns, and so they can understand how not to hurt other people, or more importantly, even themselves. The other reason I think we should keep this law is to have some kind of mechanism to know if a person is concealing a gun has passed a background check. Our police have already said that having a concealed carry permit system makes their job a lot easier, because instead of having to take a lot of time to check out the person's criminal record, they can just see if they have had a concealed carry permit. Now, a lot of people here are going to tell you today that we shouldn't have a permit system because criminals will just break the law anyway. That's just the weirdest logic, and I've been in speech and debate for now, this is my 8th year of competitive speech and debate, and that logic doesn't make any sense. I've never heard it. What if we applied that logic to all other laws? We shouldn't have the law because bad people will break them? That doesn't make any sense to me. Most people don't know this, but 40% of the gun sales in Idaho are done in private, meaning someone either sells them personally or through the newspaper or online. So even though a whole bunch of people think that gun sales are regulated, they aren't. Right now, you and I can go to armless.com and search for gun sales in Idaho. Many of them mention no background check, so it's really easy to get a gun if you're a felon in Idaho. Those private sales are not regulated by background checks, so officers and the public need to retain this important system that gives people who want to conceal a gun a background check. As a proud gun owner and a proud Idahoan, this legislation does not make me proud to be either.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any questions for Matt? Scene.
I've got to get to class.
Great. Good luck. All right, Leslie, I called you next, but if you could just wait, because I said I was going to go. You'll be next after Greg Pruitt. Greg with a tall stack of papers.
I brought 11,000 of my closest friends with me.
Welcome to the committee, you and your 11,000 closest friends.
I'm also one of your constituents, by the way.
Yes,
so.
you are.
Most of you know who I am. My name's Greg Pruitt with the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. For 4 long years, we have waited for this day in particular. In fact, our organization was founded with one of the primary goals of getting permitless carry for Idaho citizens. And so thank you for the time to allowing us to speak and to come here and to speak to you guys today. You're gonna hear a lot of things today, and you're gonna hear a lot of people who speak out both for and against, and obviously that's what this whole process is about, is allowing people to come out and speak their minds. Permitless carry, and I think it's important to understand what the current law is and to realize that this really isn't changing a whole lot. Because most people here probably understand that both non-residents and 18-year-olds can open carry anywhere in the state currently without a permit. City limits, not city limits. They can do that now. Non-residents can, and 18-year-olds and up, including residents, can conceal carry outside of city limits without a permit. So literally, there's 1% of the state that just can't do it inside of city limits. For instance, right now, I carry concealed everywhere I go. I'm sure most of you assume that. If I did not have a permit, I would be breaking the law. And I do have a permit for our law enforcement in the room. So we'll make sure that's clear. I do have my permit. All this bill really allows people to do, Idaho residents 21 and over, is to be able to put their coat on. You could really call this a put on your coat bill. But for all the things that you will hear today, my challenge for the last 4 years has been go to the states that have permitless carry. Now there's going to be 8 of them with West Virginia. But go to the other 7 states that have had permitless carry, some of them for 200 years, one of them for over 20 years, and show me where the sky is falling. Show me where all of a sudden I don't have to have this little card in my wallet and shootouts are in the street all the time between law-abiding gun owners. It just doesn't happen. I mean, you cannot go to these other states and show me where that's happening. So that should be your challenge as you hear testimony today is, well, is that happening in Alaska? Is that happening in Arizona? Is it happening in Wyoming? Is it happening in Vermont, Maine, Kansas, Arkansas? It's not. Nothing changes because the good law-abiding gun owners are still going to be good law-abiding gun owners. The criminals will still be criminals no matter what we do. That little card in the wallet changes nothing. And the training, the training process that you go through for a permit, honestly, most law-abiding gun owners, the people I know that carry on a consistent basis, and I'm sure you're some of them, you train a lot more than what that permit requires. Quite honestly, the permit system is kind of a joke for those of us who go out and do training on a consistent basis. In Arizona, in Wyoming, I can actually show you where crime is decreasing and where the permits are still going up. They're still going up because good law-abiding people are going to be good law-abiding people no matter what. So I thank you again for your time, and I stand for any questions.
Are there questions for Greg? Greg, are you going to leave your 11,000 friends for the record?
Yes.
Or are you taking them home with
No,
you?
no, I'm tired. Unless, well, it depends on how the vote goes. I might need them back.
If you would give
So,
them to the page.
Where do you want me to put
Oh,
them?
you might want them back. Well, please give them to the page and then we'll put them in the record. All right, Leslie, and after Leslie will be David Green. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for giving
Good
me
morning.
some time today. I'm standing here today to ask you to consider the source when listening to debates over permitless carry of weapons in Idaho. In particular, I ask that you deeply examine any information or requests coming from the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, which for brevity today I should term ISA. In August, I was attacked on social media by ISA because my name appeared in a months-old press release from a gun violence prevention organization for which I had volunteered exactly 2 times. The post and comments that followed it were filled with libel, misinformation, and threats, as well as strongly implied death threats and explicit threats of sexual violence against me. I won't go into the details of the post or how it affected me personally, aside from pointing out that the anxiety from it left me with health problems and thousands of dollars in medical bills, but I will enter a printed version of the full thread into the record. As of today, the post has been shared 130 times, including by militias of the sort that occupied and destroyed federal land in Oregon. For my own safety, ICE's attack sent me into research mode. What did I find? This group and the issues for which it advocates pose a threat to Idahoans. When I contacted the Boise police about the threats from ISA,
Madam Chairman.
Senator Davis.
Madam Chairman, this is an issue that is a very divisive issue. I understand that. I really understand this issue.
I know you do, sir.
But the ad hominem attacks that
It's
are
not an
easy
ad
to
hominem
do-
attack, sir.
Well,
This is,
Excuse
I'm
me,
presenting
ma'am,
evidence.
ma'am, please go through the chair.
I
If I
apologize.
might, Madam Chairman,
Senator Davis.
could you help me with the bill, not the proponents of the bill, or the opponents to the bill? Walk us through the bills and what troubles you about the issue, would you please?
Yes, sir, I will.
Ms. Brooks?
I will just, Dr. Madsen Brooks, thank you. What I will say is that Idaho has one of the highest rates of gunshot wounds per capita in the United States. It frustrates me that there are students in my classes carrying weapons. It frustrates me that at work I have to ask for protection from people who have made threats against me. It frustrates me that there are people who I know are carrying who threatened to come to my workplace. It frustrates me that we live in a state where the voices that are heard most loudly are those that I have been told by both Boise Police and now a state trooper to contact the FBI about and counterterrorism task force. And yet when I come before this committee, I'm told that those concerns do not matter. I do not feel safe in this state, and the fact that there's a gun bill here trying to loosen gun laws in this state is deeply disturbing to me. We live in a state that has one of the highest rates per capita of suicide. We have one of the states that has one of the highest rates per capita of domestic homicide against women by gun. And so the easing of these regulations is of serious concern to me as a woman and as a resident of Idaho who will speak out against these issues. Now, that said, I will say that despite its libel, ISO was correct about one thing about me. As a professional historian, I do believe that gun laws should be founded on data, evidence, cultural analysis, and historical precedent, not emotion and paranoia. Research undertaken by professionals who do this work for a living, and here I'm not talking about activist organizations, but about professional researchers based on government and independently collected data for making it more difficult for criminals to acquire and carry firearms. I'm certain you've seen much of this research, but if you have not, please let me know as I can provide either summaries of this work or the original data and research. To sum up, please do not give credence to information offered by the people who attacked me. It changed my life. I understand. Please vote no on advancing this bill. The statistics and research are clear. The more guns there are in a place, the more likely the people in that place are to experience accidents, negligence, injuries, and death. And again, per capita, Idaho already has one of the highest rates of death from gunshot wounds. Last time I looked, we were 7th in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Dr. Madsen Brooks? Okay.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you very much. All right, David Green, did you want to testify? Okay, thank you. Dakota Moore.